Everyone, good evening. This is the September full board meeting of Community Board 2. I'm Susan Kent, the chair of the board. Welcome to the Fire Museum. I believe we have a quorum already. Excellent. And we are going to start with the public session. Oh, we should start with actually attendance. Let's start with attendance.
Thank you. Can everybody hear me okay? Great. All right, let's go. Susanna Aaron. Great. Let's see. Akila Asqui. I see you there, Akila. But you're muted.
I said here. Can you hear me?
Oh,
can you hear me here?
Okay.
Can you hear me?
William Benesh.
Here.
Great. Keenberger. Carter Booth. Katie Bordenaro.
Here.
I know she's online. Just wanna. Hi, Katie. I see you're there. Anita Brandt. I'm here. Amy Brenna. Rich Capipolo.
Here.
He's online?
Yeah.
Okay. Ritu Chatri is absent with notice. Val De La Rosa. Here. Chris Dignas. Mar Fitzgerald. Thanks. Stella Fitzgerald is absent with notice. Cormac Flynn. Susan Gammy. David Gruber. Ann Hager. Julian Horkey. Wayne Cadwadler.
Here.
All right, I'll come back to you in a little bit.
Here.
Susan Kent. Oh, you're here. Yeah, sorry. Oh, he's on. Okay. All right. Ryder Kessler. Janine Kiley. Here. Ivy Kwan Ars. Oh, she's absent with notice. Okay. Patricia Laria. Michael Levine. Here. Edward Ma.
Here.
Okay. Okay. Matt Metzger is absent with notice. Dan Miller.
Here.
I see you, Dan. Hi. Okay. Erica Olson. Okay. Juan Osorio. Okay. Brian Pape.
Present.
Donna Raftery. Okay. Lois Rakoff. Bo Riccobono. Zachary Roberts.
Here.
Racia Sands is absent with notice. Shirley Secunda. Kristen Shea. Frederica Siegel. Here. Emma Smith. Dr. Shirley Smith. Oh, I see Kristen. I see you now, Kristen. I will put you down as remote. Got it. I see you. Dr. Shirley Smith, who I believe is
Present.
Well.
Present.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Let's see. Janelle Spence is going to be late. Susan Wittenberg. Okay.
Were you
Anthony
able
Wong. Who is? Edma. Oh, okay, good. Hold on.
Edma's here.
Let's see. He is recording. Okay. Got it. Susan.
Amy, were you able to hear me? This is Shirley Smith. You can.
Cheryl? She's remote.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Here.
Oh, Dr. Smith, I counted you as
We can't hear you.
Okay, just to let you guys know, there's no audio coming through from the room.
Excuse me, Edma is on Zoom.
You guys have to unmute yourself.
Yeah, this is a downtown event.
Well, now that we've got all the tension out, all right. It looks like we're green. You guys can hear us? Okay.
Yes.
Great.
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you. All right, we're going to start our public session. People had until 5 o'clock today to sign up online to testify. We will be taking testimony from Zoom and from in person. We will start with agenda items first. If you have not signed up to testify, there usually is a paper to sign up, but I don't believe we have those here. So we will check at the end if someone signed up and I did not call on their name, so we'll do it at that time. So we're going to start off the public session. You'll have 2 minutes to speak. Board members are allowed to ask questions. And we will start with items on our agenda first. So we have Julie Matos speaking about 290 Elizabeth Street, rafts. So Julie, if you could come up to the microphone. She's here. Oh. And just want to check on this because I'm not seeing it turn green when I'm speaking right now. And I'm hearing in the chat that they cannot hear us, that they lost audio.
Right now, we can hear you.
I hear you in the room. So I've lost audio.
Now we seem to have lost them again.
Testing. Can you guys hear us on Zoom?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Julie, you have 2 minutes, and I'm not sure where the time clock is happening.
Do we have our time?
Okay, I'll just do it from here.
Are you having? Oh, are you
Great.
time?
I'll just put it on my phone. Go ahead.
Okay, you can take it out if you want and hold it.
There you go. Try now.
Hi. Reasons I strongly oppose stellar basement event space at 290 Elizabeth Street. Small residential tenement apartment, 8 to 1899. Very frail gas lines, electricity, appliances, and boilers, all located in small cellar. Construction for a restaurant destabilized building. Rafts always exceeds and deviates permit limits. Permit 75 people max, building total, including tenants. More cooking, more toxic exhaust fumes from non-EPA approved early 1900s wood burning oven emissions. Carbon monoxide detector incidents from washing power equipment. Receiving additional gas, electricity from street manhole. Taped to basement grill. Please view yourself and walk by.
Permit allows X, they do X, Y, Z a million times over. Decrease tenants' water supply and voltage for self-efficiency. Confirmed asbestos and mold. Toxic construction dust and debris. Exhaust ash soot-filled apartments. Rodents. Tenants complain, rafts berate tenants, including adjacent neighbors. An event space plus bar in small cellar basement is a massive fire hazard. Potential catastrophe waiting to happen. A basement party space in a residential tenement is an egregious proposal. I implore CB2 to please deny any license. Raft's restaurant is successful, busy, and has a liquor license.
If you'd like to wrap up, I know we got started just a little bit. So if you want to just take the next 30, 45 seconds to wrap up. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm wrapped. Okay. Note, where does discreet stop? Where is the moral human decency? This building and block, it's a home, not a nightclub. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions from board members? I'm going to turn it over to our chair, Susan Kent, because we have some elected officials in the room.
Yes, we have guests. First, Assembly Member Glick. I saw walk towards the back, please.
Really? The last half flight was the tough one. Happy to see you all. For those for whom it is appropriate, Shana Tova, may be a sweet one. And I'm very happy to be with you tonight. Today, the governor signed my bill with Senator Harckham on geothermal wells, an attempt to make it easier and less cumbersome for those to be used for heating and cooling systems. We're very happy about that. It took a lot of negotiation at the end, but they had in the past been treated like oil and gas wells, which was not really appropriate. And so hopefully this will incentivize the use of more of those. For the arts community, NISCA has indicated that it is opening its don't dawdle. January 11th is the closing date, so you have time to put together a proposal, but that I think is very important, particularly in this community. I am happy that there has been a sort of traveling around the state by the Department of Environmental Conservation, getting ideas about Bond Act proposals, but they didn't really come by here. And there's lots of places they didn't show up. There is a portal on their website where one can make recommendations and suggestions. These are capital dollars because it's bondable projects. And so if you have thoughts about projects that are or should be considered, you have till the 30th to go online, September 30th, and make that recommendation to the Department of Environmental Conservation. Knowledge and concerned about debt or are wondering whether they should go back. EdCap is a project of the Community Service Society, and they assist students and parents in figuring out how to reduce debt and how to apply for whatever grants might be available or open to them. And I'm happy to see Mr. Levine is here. Good to see you. And there's also Department of Environmental Protection is offering green roof retrofit funding for property owners. That's a December 6th closing date. All of the dates with the exception of the NISCA, is in the report. And I'd be remiss if I didn't weigh in a little bit on 388 Hudson. For many years, I've personally suggested that this was an appropriate place. City-owned property is the few places that you can get affordable housing built. It should be done developer so that we don't only get 100% affordable, but that it's permanently affordable. We've been through many iterations of programs that end seemingly think it's crucial that we press the city to work with a nonprofit developer so that the 100% affordable is also permanently affordable. And we don't have people coming into the community thinking that they can settle here, their children can be raised here, and then pull the rug out from under them. So I feel very strongly about that. And I'm glad that the city is finally, after this goes back to the last mayor, nattering at him about that space, because it is city-owned land. And I understand that they are concerned about shadows cast on the park, but I also think that it's better to have shadows cast on the park than have New Yorkers sleeping on the street. So we had a great day. It was what perfect day. Couldn't have had a better day for shred event. People love shred events. We're going to try to have another one in the spring, because we have small streets and small apartments, and people have no place to put their stuff. We also had a bill to expand access to SCREE and DREE, that senior citizen rent increase exemption, and the same for disabled folks. And it goes beyond rent regulated buildings, but into former Mitchell Lama buildings where there is an agreement with the landlord. So that's been passed, and those applications in those places, like an IPN, are now being taken. So I'm very happy about that. It'll help keep people in our community who have frankly been here most of their adult lives. So I think I'll stop there and just say that it's we continue to work on a number of bills that have been sent to the governor. And if anybody feels like writing to the governor and urging the governor to sign our birds and bees bill, which prohibits the random and prophylactic use of neonicotinoid neurotoxins coated on seeds for corn, soybean, and wheat, that we actually get that signed, as well as a ban on killing contests and a ban on transporting horses for slaughter for human and animal consumption. We treat them with medications. We would never treat animals that were going into the food supply. Now, it's not sold here, it's sold somewhere else, but we still shouldn't be poisoning other people in the world. I just have a feeling about that. And we also, the streams bill, this expands the access. This is Class C streams. They're a little bit smaller, but they're still crucial. And with the determination by the Supreme Court that wetlands, they're really terrible wetlands decision, it's all the more important for New York State to protect our Class C streams. So those are bills that are with the governor. She signed the SCREE-DREE bill. She signed the geothermal bill. Now we got 4 more we got to get across the finish line. So if anybody feels like writing to the governor on those, be very, very grateful for your support of those items.
And we have questions, Susanna.
We actually have to find out about But yeah, oh yes, certainly. The question had to do with whether we'd be advocating for any projects along the shoreline on the Hudson River Park. We have to get a legal opinion as to whether the Bond Act dollars can go to a quasi-city state entity. I think they can, but we have to double check that. I know that when we had a composting roundtable the other day that was totally fascinating. And as soon as I have a minute in the office, I'm going to go through my notes because it was pages and pages. They said that Bond Act money couldn't go to state agencies because we were asking about using some of the Bond Act dollars for equipment for certain, like the park agency should not be sending its compost anywhere else. They should be composting on site, and for which they might need equipment because of the volume. And they said they can't send it to a state agency. So it made me question whether a quasi public benefit corp is
sorry. Those of us who are fans of the park advocated hard for the passage, for the passage of the Bond Act, and it would be very much a shame if that didn't foresee any protections of the Manhattan shoreline. Thanks.
I totally understand. I was actually a little surprised when DEC folks told us that we couldn't see those dollars go to a state agency. So we'll have to find out.
Okay, another question from Lois. Please, yeah. But it's for the folks on the screen.
Please clarify again what you were saying about NISCA. I didn't get that clearly.
They are opening their 2024 capital project grants program for arts organizations. And that you can go online and see what their parameters might be. But the deadline is Thursday, January 11th.
And this is for art and theater as well?
NISCA funds dance, theater, visual arts, really the whole gamut.
Thank you.
Okay, I see no more questions. Great. And no one online.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. And next we have State Senator Brian Kavanaugh. If anyone needs a tablet, we have some in the front that are loaded.
Lovely. I'm going to get my tablet when I'm done. It's great. It's great to see all of you here. It's getting back, in the fall here, we're starting to look toward a new session. But as my colleague Deborah Glick noted, we still have we have some unfinished business from this year. So the governor is going through lots of bills that we passed this year. Recently, the governor signed a bill I sponsored that makes the Asian Lunar New Year a statewide school holiday, and also a bill that provides for the notification of anyone who worked in the 9/11 kind of health catchment area. It basically has employers notifying anyone who worked here that they might be eligible for health monitoring and potentially health benefits if they're ill. Governor signed that on 9/11. We also passed a couple of bills that the governor signed this past week that are intended to give effect to and strengthen some of the voting reforms. When a few years ago, before Democrats took majority in the Senate, we had some of the worst, most restrictive voting laws in the country. We now have some of the best. We're still working on some of the details, but we passed early voting a few years ago. We also sent a ballot initiative to the constitutional amendment to the voters to provide for same-day registration. The voters of the state voted it down, partly because there was some active campaigns upstate against it, that it was somehow connected to fraud. But nonetheless, because early voting starts 12 days before the election, and the registration deadline is 10 days before the election. There are a couple of days where people can register and vote. So we passed a law to really provide for that process to be seamless so people can register to vote at early voting sites and vote on that day. Deborah also mentioned there are a few things still pending on the governor's desk. I have a number of housing bills, but in particular, a couple of bills to strengthen the rent laws we passed this year. They were very controversial, hotly debated on the floor, but they close various loopholes in the laws, including one of the significant ones, which is that although all landlords are required to register their rent-regulated apartments, there is virtually no penalty for not doing so. It's actually a $10 fee if they decline to register, which does not really induce anybody to comply who's not otherwise inclined to comply. So we dramatically strengthened that, and there were a bunch of issues in the rent laws, and we'll be negotiating to get the governor to sign those in the fall. So if anybody's interested in those things, please do let us know. We can talk about how to advocate for that. Big news, we used to do a community convention. Daniel Squadron, my predecessor, modeled this originally. We haven't done it since before the pandemic, but we are back in action. It is going to be October 15th. It's going to be at MS 131 on Hester Street. Doors will open at noon. Program will start at 1. And as usual, there'll be kind of a plenary session with some speakers, including myself, and then panel discussions among members of the community on all kinds of issues of public concern, transportation, housing, schools, seniors, services, resiliency projects. So again, that is on October 15th. There are some flyers in the back. And I do hope that both some of you all, if you're available, will join us. And also hope the community board will help get the word out about that. We've also been, with this extended summer, we've been trying to get out. We're still tabling all over the community. We were recently at Hudson Square Bids live at lunch event with some lovely music. I think I'll stop there. Oh, one more. COVID I think is, everybody understands, is going to be part of our lives. Like the flu, as the winter months approach, we have to prepare ourselves. So people should get boosted. We also have tests and masks in fairly large numbers, large volume of those. If people are interested, I see a few people wearing masks in here. I applaud the good sense of wearing masks in crowded spaces, although it's fallen out of favor. But if you need them, if you are with an organization that needs a supply of those to distribute to the community, we have them available. So please talk to us. And Emily Lang and Stacy from my office, whom you all know, are here, and you can discuss how to arrange that too. I think I'll stop there. I know you have a long meeting.
Okay. Thank you, Senator. I don't see any hands up, so we have no questions.
Covered it so well. Thank you.
Okay, back to Valerie, public session.
Thank you very much. Before we go, we're going to go, we've now had our one agenda item, and now I'm going to go to non-agenda items. I'm going to start out with Jane Carey from the Whitney.
All right, thanks so much, Valerie and the board. I'm going to try to okay. So I'm Jane Carey from the Whitney Museum of American Art, and I'm here on behalf of the Whitney and the West Side Cultural Network. We're a group of 20 and growing nonprofit cultural organizations spanning the West Side, including parts of CB2 and CB4. And we're getting ready to celebrate our dynamic and fantastic cultural district. You all know that this neighborhood has long been an arts community, artist residence, West Beth, White Columns, many institutions that have helped create the West Side to be the dynamic cultural community it is. Well, there's been a lot of openings too. The Whitney's coming up on its 10-year opening on Gansevoort Street. Other places that have brought culture to the community, like Little Island, a smattering of smaller organizations that are still just as important in making the sector so fun. Anyways, we're celebrating with what we hope will become an annual art celebration called West Side Fest. It's going to be on Saturday, September 30th. I'm holding the poster, and I'll put some postcards in the back too. The Whitney's offering free admission that day, and all of the participating organizations are offering things for free, and in one case, very low cost. So art making, inside and outside performances, and all concluding with a dance party on the shed. So we hope that you can come and celebrate and spread the word with your networks. We are trying to get the word out there the best we can with a coordinated outreach plan, but we're nonprofits, and every little piece of help we can get would be so appreciated. So hope you can celebrate with us on the 30th. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jane. Oh, we do have a question. No one can hear you online.
Is it a family-friendly event?
Absolutely. We'll have programs for people of all ages. So actually, Westbeth is kicking it off at 11 a.m. with a puppet show meant for children. At the Whitney, we're doing art making. It's for kids on Saturdays, but will be for all ages. And Hudson River Park's doing their Marine Science Festival that day on Pier 63. Which I think is great for kids. I'm looking at Susanna because I'm sure you know I want to take my son there this year. And then we're hoping that people of all ages will find something that's meaningful for them and fun. So yeah, thanks. Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Are there any other questions for Jane? All right. We're going to move on. We're going to continue on our non-agenda items for the public session. We are going to go through, we have a lineup of speakers to speak about 388 Hudson. I want to be clear that 388 Hudson is not on our agenda this evening. We are not voting on any resolution on 388 Hudson this evening. There was a community visioning workshop last week that was hosted by HPD. HPD will be holding an additional community visioning workshop. And then in October, the CB2 Land Use Committee will have HPD come back, and that will be discussed at that meeting. There are 2 prior resolutions from this last year that we passed on 388 Hudson, and I'll drop those in the chat, or someone else will drop those in the chat, and you can see those. So everyone will have 2 minutes to speak, and that's it. So we're going to start out with Andrew Berman, followed by Melinda Hamilton, Trevor Stewart, and Laura Tenenbaum. And to my knowledge, those people will be testifying via.
Yes, hi, can you hear me?
Does everyone?
Should I start? Can you hear me?
Hearing people can hear him on Zoom, but we cannot. Oh, no, you cannot. Just 1 second, Andrew. We'll hold the clock.
Can you hear us now?
I'm hearing that on Zoom, the people that are joining on Zoom can hear Andrew, but we cannot hear him in the room.
Okay.
Just a minute.
What's going on?
Andrew, can you try one more time?
Sure. Can you hear me now?
No. Is it a setting on the television? I think there's.
Right now.
Andrew, will you try one more time for us?
Can you hear me now?
Me too. Yeah. Folks online here, but we don't.
Everyone for your patience. Okay. Well, Eugene, will you try to speak? Or another board member?
Sure. Can you hear me, Valerie?
Yeah, Eugene, we can't hear him.
Okay.
It's okay.
We can hear on Zoom.
Yeah, I think the issue is they can't hear any.
Yeah.
Maybe
of
we
us on
should
Zoom
go
in the
to
room.
other people who are present and then
Okay, but we'll go to
whoever's in the audience and we'll come back.
I'm gonna go to people in the
In the
room.
audience.
So Melinda and Trevor Stewart are online. Laura Tenenbaum, are you in the room? I went through the list of who signed up for Eventbrite, but I did not see a lot of these people on the list. Joel Lobenthal, Mark Milano, Tom O'Keefe, Risa Tylim, and Erisman. And can you tell me, Marianne, would you like to go ahead?
I think it's okay.
Marianne, great.
Is it?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yes.
I'm Marianne Arisman, and I am the co-chair of the St. Luke's Place Block Association. And I'm representing the Block Association and want to make clear that we are not against affordable housing in our neighborhood at all. I have just three things. The building should be no taller than Printing House, and it should have setbacks on Clarkson Street to minimize the shadows that would come on the playing fields of J.J. Walker Park. The second is that it should be permanently affordable. And the stress level was enormous when Mitchell-Lama disappeared after 20 years. 20 years, I'm sure, at the start seemed like a lifetime. It's not. And finally, we recommend that it be senior affordable housing. To us, it seems that seniors are a growing demographic in the city, and they're going to continue from everything.
We've lost, apologies. We've lost audio on the people on Zoom are saying they cannot hear.
They can't hear me.
Well, it's I don't think it's an audio issue. So just
we can hear her now.
That's fine. Continue. I'm just letting them know. So I can't.
Finally, we recommend that it be senior affordable housing. I'm not sure that was made clear in the visioning session, but we wanted to make it clear that it's something that we would recommend. That seniors are not as big an impact on the community infrastructure. For instance, they don't send kids to schools that are already fully filled at this point. So we would recommend that. So we just ultimately feel that if we have sacrificed what we thought we were promised as a park many years ago, that we should build for the future. And the future may need, we can see the need for senior affordable housing in the future. And we feel like we should build, and it doesn't have to be a tall tower. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. If you you'll need a microphone.
I couldn't hear the beginning of your testimony. You said no higher than
the Printing House condominium, which is diagonally across from a lot.
Got it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. No problem.
One second. Thank you. Can you all hear me? Hello? Can you all hear me? Okay.
We can hear you, Valerie.
Next, we're going to go to And Anna Shapiro, are you in the room? And then next we'll go to Linda Pagan. You will have 2 minutes.
My name is Linda Pagan, and please close to the microphone. My name. Take it out. Oh, okay. I feel like a rock star. Whoops. Wait, is my 2 minutes on now? Go ahead. Okay. My name is Linda Pagan, and I have lived in the neighborhood for 30 years, and I've had my hat shop for 28 years. I have seen people age out of my neighborhood, all the old Italians, 70s, 80s, 90s. They aged out of our neighborhood, and I'm replacing them. I'm 65 years old. I just got my Medicare card. I'm here to urge people to consider that, and I'm the third one to say it, but I wrote it down this afternoon as proof that having lived in my apartment for 30 years, 30 years goes by in the blink of an eye. So if we have this housing, I urge people to consider older people that live on the 5th floor. We don't want them as shut-ins because that's another drain on city resources, which if they have an elevator, most people live in tenements and do not have elevators. So I really urge people to, and I also, having been born in Europe, don't understand how public land after 30 years can become private land. If it's public, it's public. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. So next, let me go back to this list and see who we have in person. Okay, so next, Catherine Swan, are you in the room?
Could I ask Eugene to speak for just a quick second?
Sure.
Hi, yes, can you hear me?
Eugene, will you try to speak one more time?
Sure, can you hear me in the room? I'm guessing that's a no. I'm seeing everyone else on the Zoom smile. So you can hear me.
All right, next, Timothy Harrell, are you in the room? Right, Maggie Curtis, I think is online. Gregory Baggett is online. Kate Madigan, are you in the room? Great. Kate, if you'd like to speak. You have 2 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm actually here to speak on behalf of the Public Theater, not on 388, but okay, perfect.
Yes.
Good afternoon or good evening, everybody. My name is Kate Madigan. I just wanted to say hello from the Public Theater and have a few updates about our upcoming season. Just a quick note, way up in Central Park, we're doing 18-month renovation on our Delacorte Theater. That means we will be doing free Shakespeare in all 5 boroughs. So if you have any suggestions for open space in CB2, I would love to hear them so we can bring our free Shakespeare in the Park to your park. Moving downtown, our fall slate of shows includes Druido Casey in partnership and performances at NYU Skirball, October 14th, 4 to 14th. We also have Hell's Kitchen, an unforgettable new show featuring both newly created music and the soulful iconic songs of New York's own Alicia Keys, running from October 24th to December 23rd. And Mannahatta, a gripping journey from the fur trade of the 1600s to the stock trade of today. Native writer Mary Catherine Nagel tells the story of Jane Snake, a brilliant young Native American woman with a Stanford MBA. Jane reconnects to her ancestral land here on Lenape homeland known as Mannahatta when she moves from Oklahoma to New York for a banking job right before the 2008 financial meltdown. Performances November 16th to December 17th. And finally, please consider joining us for nightly performances at Joe's Pub. Look online for upcoming shows and or stop by our lobby at 425 Lafayette Street to speak with the ticket office. Hope to see you soon. Thank you.
We have a question.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, how much space do you need for the Shakespeare in the Park?
We just require that there is some kind of a power supply. But we probably would want a substantial space for maybe 50 up people to make it equitable.
Did you say 50 people up?
If the space has access to power,
Yeah,
so we can
I see.
microphone, and then also maybe 50 and up to make it equitable, and anyone who stops by can watch the play.
Thank you.
Yep. Ooh, good one. All right. Thank you.
Okay, and the other public speaker that we have, I know we're trying to get this audio figured out. So if you're on Zoom to speak, we're trying to get that figured out. If possibly Stephanie Mercado Altman, are you in the room to speak? Okay. Do you want to stop the public session and
What? Sorry. Thanks.
They can hear. They can hear each other. Yeah. There's some people which means that.
Eugene could try again.
Sure.
Well, let's Eugene, let's try. Can we try it? If not, we'll maybe go to elected official. Then elected official. Then elected official. Then elected official. Oh, it's bad.
Oh, is there an echo? I think there's an echo.
To do is we're going to go to elected officials reports that are in person. Okay. Okay. If I can, if you know I have actually probably we have one other person that signed up to speak. Oh yeah. Speak. Oh, yes. Okay. So next we'll call on Darlene Lutz, who signed up to speak, but I've missed it on my list. So go ahead. You have 2 minutes.
No problem. Good evening, everybody. Darlene Lutz, a member of the Precinct Community Council. I'm here to announce we're back in person for the monthly Precinct Council meetings. Community Board 2 is served by 4 precincts. The first precinct is in the territory of east of Broadway, south of Houston Street. So basically Soho and west of Soho. The September meeting is next Thursday. I'm sorry that it conflicts with Human Services for CB2. It is at 6 p.m. at the precinct, and we'll be meeting commanding officer of the first precinct, Captain Joel Rosenthal. So it will be illuminating. He'll be taking us in a new direction, and I think it's going to be a great. Any questions about why you should be coming to a community council, a precinct community council meeting? Feel free. If you would like to get something on the agenda, please contact me. My email address is sohowestnyc@gmail.com. Thank you, and hope to see you.
Thank you so much.
Do we have
If
any
Eugene
other?
could try again.
Oh,
Hi, testing.
This is something.
You can hear me?
Yes, we're kind of hearing something.
Kind of hearing something. Okay. That's an improvement.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. I can hear you. Yes.
Oh, I know you can.
Oh, wait. Who is speaking?
That was Andrew.
Oh, that was Andrew. Sorry. I can hear you, Andrew.
We all can hear each other, except they don't have a speaker that can hear us.
do you have any other public speakers left in the room? We have.
We'll get to did you want to move to did you want to move it back to you?
Yeah, if we're going to move to elected officials while we're still working on the audio issue.
So
we haven't forgotten about you. We're just going to keep this moving.
So I'll pass it back to you, Susan.
Thank you. So let's start with our the reps, please.
Because that's what Hi, good evening, everybody.
For those who don't know me, I'm Peter Say. I represent the Manhattan District Attorney. Good to see you. Welcome back from the summer. I hope everybody had a good summer. So just some announcement things that we've been doing and things that we're going to continue to do. A lot of construction in our area here. And we're trying to look out for some of the workers there. A lot of these workers work hard. They're not getting paid by the contractors. We've recently recovered some salaries for workers working in a building here. So we continue to do so. Got an echo here. If you know of any construction site, safety and wage protection, please contact our office. And keeping with the theme of the arts here, we've recently this is some echo. Thank you.
Yeah.
Come on, Mark. Sorry about that. That's okay. Fine. Is it better now? Yeah, I think it's better now. Recently this week, we've helped recover 7 pieces of art from during the Holocaust period from museums in the area and returned it back to their owners. And they've already been returned. And we have a very successful unit that seeks art that's been stolen, kept in private hands, and we continue to do so. So thank you. I'll be around if there's any questions, and I'll be at these meetings all the time. Thank you very much. Any questions?
I see none, but so thank you, Peter. So do we have any other representatives in the audience? Please come forward. Oh, Tevin had to leave, unfortunately. His report, yeah, he had another meeting. So his report is in the back. Please. Okay, well, we're still going to go. Keep going and we will.
Hi, everyone. My name is Julio Rivas. I'm from Councilmember Galina Rivera's office. I know you guys normally see my colleague, Biana Rodriguez. Just wanted to give a quick report on a couple legislative things that the council member has been working on. In July, she passed Intro 289, which will require the Department of Transportation to create a searchable map for information on every bike lane in the city. And hopefully this will allow bikers to bike more safely on the bike lanes and make those arrangements as they use their bikes. The council member also celebrated the passing of legislation on cannabis and tobacco shops. Going forward, a landlord cannot knowingly lease land to any tobacco or cannabis shop that does not have a license. And the landlord can be fined up to $10,000 per day. Shop is still in operation. And then we also invite you to our housing clinics. HPD will be in our office on October 5th. This is part of a series that we're doing throughout the fall. So if you're a tenant and you want some tenant resources, if you're seeking affordable housing, or if you have a property, if you're a property owner and you have questions for on October 5th, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Great. Question. Go ahead, Will. Microphone.
Thank you. I was just going to ask, has Councilwoman Rivera been closely following the rulemaking around Local Law 97? And I'm just curious if she has a view or if the council is kind of taking a view as to this rec loophole that, I think the mayor is still sort of considering. So just wondering.
Yeah, council members supportive of the law, and we are definitely keeping an eye on the rulemaking process at the moment. And we're still reviewing that. So I encourage you to contact our office so you can get in touch with our legislative team who can have more information on that.
Any other questions?
I see none.
Right, thank you. And then I'm just going to leave this in the back for you all to get if you want to see it.
Thank you. You're up next.
Thank you, Susan. My name is Caroline Wexelbaum. I'm from State Senator Brad Heilman Siegel's office, and we have a printed board report in the back of the room, and Mark will send you a link so that the folks online can also get it. Just a few community announcements. We are hosting a senior resource fair on October 24th from 3 to 5 p.m. It's a little bit far from CB2. It's 250 West 65th Street. Again, there's more information in the back of the room. We also have a new parent and family guide also in the back of the room. Mark, I will also send you a link to that for those online. We also, with government colleagues and good government groups, tenants, and organized labor to call for the enactment of the LLC Transparency Act, which would end the practice of anonymous shell ownership of limited liability companies. And the act requires LLCs to disclose their owners to the state, which will help law enforcement crack down on things like money laundering and tax evasion. It passed the legislature. It's just waiting on the governor's signature. So this event is just to try to encourage the governor to sign the law so that it goes into effect. Finally, there is a new housing affordable housing lottery for at 278 8th Avenue, which is 26th Street, that folks can sign up for. These don't come out very often, so I encourage everyone to go online and apply. Is there any questions? Awesome.
I
Have
see
a good
none.
night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It doesn't look like we have audio online.
Can we try again?
Go ahead. Let's.
Eugene?
Sure.
Eugene, anyone who's online, can you?
Yeah, we can hear you.
now?
We can hear you.
I think I can hear you. Can you hear me?
We heard something.
I trying again. So, again? Yeah.
Who am I hearing?
Keep going.
All right. Just testing
Just
1,
keep
2,
going.
3.
Don't stop talking, please.
Testing 1, 2, 3. It's good to see you guys. You can hear me. Wave your hands if you can hear me.
Hi.
No one in the room
This
can
is
hear me, though.
Edma. I cannot, I
Oh
have
my
it
God,
close to the ear. I cannot hear well.
Okay, that's fine. I can hear you, Ed. But Susan, Valerie, can you hear me? No?
We can hear you. It's just low volume.
Oh, okay. Does someone else
Eugene,
want to...
I can hear you. I have to close my cell phone close to my ear. Otherwise, I cannot hear.
My cat ears.
Oh, okay. I don't know if anyone else can speak as well. I don't know.
Well, this
Andrew?
is not testing.
Are you able to hear me?
Can you hear Andrew? I'm going to guess that's a no.
That seems to be the best offer.
Is it a case of the levels are just really low?
Hi, this is Robin Force. Can you hear me?
Hi, I can hear you, Robin. We're just trying to determine if the room can hear
The room
us.
can hear. Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
I think there's some disconnect between everyone in the Zoom and then people in the physical location. Susan, Brian, Valerie. Actually, now I don't think I can hear the room at all now. I see you speaking, Susan, but I can't hear anything. We've lost the room, so we cannot hear anything in the room right now. Yes, Valerie. So yeah, we can. Oh, you can hear me, but you can't hear. We can't hear you. Thank you, everyone, for being patient with us. Yes, Valerie. So Valerie's asking if you can hear each other on the Zoom. We can. Everyone on the Zoom can hear each other. Okay, so Valerie, you're saying let's go? Okay, so let's try this. Andrew Berman, 2 minutes.
Can you hear me?
Someone is speaking now.
This is Andrew.
The room is coming through very jarbled. It's like you're on a bad cell phone connection or something. It's coming in little bits and, you know.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear whoever just spoke.
About
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. And Andrew, when you speak, I can hear you.
Now we can't hear them. So I think what we need to do is we need to hear the testimony. So I will call on people. I will talk here in the chat with people raised already. If we can hear the people on Zoom, then we can move forward. So
do you want me to call people on the Zoom session? Would that
I can hear you just barely now. If we could go back to the way we had it before, then I'll speak to the room and I'll speak to the Zoom on chat and or have Eugene work with me to speak to the Zoom.
Okay, I think we'll have to we'll have to work it that way. So
okay, we can do that.
Okay, so why don't we start with Andrew? I know he's been waiting patiently to speak. Thank you, Andrew.
All right. Thank you very much. This is Andrew Berman speaking on behalf of Village Preservation regarding 388 Hudson Street.
Wait, hold on 1 second, Andrew. You're a little garbled. Katie, you said, is everyone on the Zoom able to hear Andrew? It's a little iffy, right? Okay. Maybe if the room could mute, because there's some kind of interference from the room. Like we hear someone speaking. Something is coming through from the room. Andrew, do you want to say something just as a test?
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. We can hear you on the Zoom. I see lots of thumbs ups. So
Right.
let's try that again. Andrew, you have 2 minutes.
Sure.
Reset the clock. Okay.
Andrew Berman for Village Preservation. We were extremely shocked and disappointed at the HPD community visioning session for 388 Hudson Street. HPD did not seem to listen at all to the feedback it had received from hundreds of residents and from the community board's own resolution about ensuring that the development was respectful in terms of its height and relationship to its surroundings and minimizing shadows on J.J. Walker Park. The fact that there is no guarantee of permanency to the affordable housing was also incredibly disturbing. What we are urging is that we all fight for 100% permanently affordable housing, guaranteed, explicit, no ifs, ands, or buts, no options, no what have you. Also, it is a false dichotomy to say that we have to choose between housing and not having shadows on the park. A lower, bulkier building that steps back from the park will help ensure that we minimize shadows while maximizing the amount of affordable housing. The 355-foot tall tower that HPD has put forward is the least efficient and most expensive way of building housing on this site. A lower, bulkier building will get more housing in more efficiently with less shadow and less of a visual impact. So I ask the community board and our elected officials and all other interested parties involved in this to work together in order to get guaranteed permanent affordable housing, minimal height, minimal shadows, maximum affordable housing. It is doable. do not buy into the false dichotomy that these two are inherently in opposition to one another. And it is entirely within the power of the city to require that the affordable housing stay affordable permanently in perpetuity. Anything less than a guarantee means this will eventually become luxury condos with great unobstructed views over J.J. Walker Park and the Greenwich Village Historic District. That is not what we want to see happen. We want to ensure that this development stays affordable forever. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew.
Perfect. Eugene's going to call on, just for the room, is going to call on Linda Hamilton next, and then Trevor Stewart.
Great. Are there any questions?
While that's happening, were there any questions in the room for Andrew? Okay.
I'm Melinda Hamilton. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you. I'm Melinda Hamilton, and I'm here to second Andrew's points. I also want to tell you that I've been in the West Village since the early 60s. When I moved to the village, it was vibrant. It was filled with an unusual amount of talented people. They were writers, they were actors, they were musicians, they were artists, and now they cannot afford to come here as young people and bring vitality to our city. So I've lived in the same area for 60 years. 30 years is not a proper way to have affordable housing. It should be for the longevity of the building that is being built. Also, Jane Jacobs fought to keep high rises out of the village. And now we are considering even a taller building than has ever been considered. I would hope that you would vote against any building that is over the height of the printing house. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Melinda.
Eugene, we're going to move to allow Robin. We're going to end the public session. We're going to pause the public session and have Robin Forrest from the mayor's office give her report, and then we will go back to the public session.
Okay, great. Thank you, Robin.
Thank you. I don't know who can hear me and who can't, but I will be brief. As everybody knows, the asylum crisis in New York has grown over the last several months. And most recently, there was a piece of good news from Washington in that 500,000 Venezuelan migrants are going to be able to get TPS, which is temporary protected status, which will allow them to work legally and also allow them to apply for protections on deportation. It's a step. We still need financial support. You all have heard the mayor talking about PEGs and reducing the city budget to cover the cost of the migrants. But this is a small step, and we hope that we will see more steps from Washington and Albany. If anybody is particularly interested in the asylee, the status of the asylees, there is a weekly update provided by Deputy Mayor Ann Williams Isom on nyc.gov at 2 p.m. It's always very interesting. She picks a specific topic each week, and if you're interested, I would encourage you to watch it. It's about a half hour. In other news, I wanted to, I don't know if you've heard, but the mayor announced a couple of weeks ago a program to communicate directly with the mayor, and it's called Text with Eric. Basically, you can sign up to have a text exchange with the mayor or one of his staffers to get updates about what's happening, to ask a question, and you will get an answer. So if you want to sign up, or as the mayor says, hit me up, New York, the phone number, I'll say it slowly and I'll repeat it. If you want to sign up, it's 917 917-909-2288. That's 917-909-2288. I've done it. It works. So give it a try. It's kind of cool, I think. And with that, I think that I will stop because I know that the audio is oh, let me just add one more thing. The war on rats continues, and as everybody knows, the mayor hates rats. There was an announcement made by Commissioner Tisch, Commissioner of Sanitation, that starting in March, all commercial trash, of which there's 12 million pounds a day, will need to be secured in a lidded container. No more plastic bags on the street. There's little time to get ready for that, but the belief is that getting rid of those bags will help get rid of a lot of the rats that we see around. So that's all I have. If you have any questions, I thank you for your patience, and hopefully the audio will magically work. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Robin. That was Robin Forst from the mayor's office. We are going to go back to the public session, and thank you for everyone for being patient. We're going to go to Trevor Stewart next, then Laura Tenenbaum, Joel Lobenthal, Mark Milano.
Trevor Stewart here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks very much for this opportunity to speak about 388 Hudson. I promise to be brief. Firstly, let me state that I'm absolutely in favor of developing permanently affordable housing on the 388 Hudson site. There's a desperate need for more affordable housing in our city, particularly for seniors, as Deborah mentioned, and this is a good use of city-owned property. There are two interrelated problems, however, with the plan as currently envisaged. First, the proposed building, which could be up to 355 feet high, is way out of scale for the neighborhood and for its intended purpose. A much more respectful and contextual size and height could easily accommodate the 100 units, and in fact, alternative plans have already been presented and unfortunately ignored, as Andrew Berman mentioned in his remarks. The second problem, perhaps more serious, is that the city only intends to require the development to remain affordable for 30 years. That may seem like a hell of a long time, but it really isn't, as the previous speaker mentioned. And one has to believe that units in this proposed high-rise tower with unobstructed views over a park in Greenwich Village Historic District will not remain affordable for a day longer than absolutely necessary. Property developers have very long planning horizons, and one would have to be an extremely gullible New Yorker to believe that the game plan is anything other than luxury market rate apartments at the earliest possible moment, affordability be damned. I urge CB2 to demand a more contextual and appropriate design, and as Deborah Glick also mentioned, a guarantee of permanent affordability. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Next, we have Laura Tenenbaum, Joel Lobenthal, Mark Milano, Tom O'Keefe, Risa Tylam, and Anna Shapiro. I don't see any of those. If anyone else that's a co-host on the Zoom, if you see any of those names, if you could elevate them. I'm going to go to the next set of names. Those people who signed up to speak about 388 Hudson. Next, I have Catherine Swan to speak about Washington Square Park. I don't see her on Zoom either and didn't see her signed up. Next, we have Dan Miller, Hudson River Park Advisory. I don't know if you're still on, Dan, on Zoom.
Dan's still here, but he's muted.
Dan's here.
Okay. Next, Timothy Harrell on Zoom, and Maggie Curtis. I believe I did see on Zoom. We could elevate where she was on earlier.
Maggie Curtis is rejoining as a participant.
Okay, thank you.
Maggie's on her way up.
Eugene, oh, I see Maggie now. Maggie, you have 2 minutes.
Hey, thank you so much, and thank you so much for bearing through this audio stuff. Really appreciate everyone working on it. Just wanted to share a few really exciting updates from Hudson River Park. This season has been our 25th anniversary for the park, and we've had a ton of incredible events throughout the 4-mile footprint, and we're continuing those on into the fall. Our research aquarium, the Hudson River Wet Lab at Pier 40, they're doing look-in sessions every Tuesday and Wednesday through the end of October from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. You can come meet some of the local wildlife. And we will also have Sunday sessions from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. through October 22nd. You can also sign up to take a tour of the park's compost center, a number of our historical vessels in the park, and the habitat garden this month. Park tours are on Thursdays in September. You can check Hudson River Park /events for more information on those. We also hope that everyone has enjoyed our Pier 57 Discovery Tank. If you haven't, we really encourage you to stop by and check it out or take part in any of our specific events that happen there. We have guided gallery, nature poetry, painting nature, science trivia, and sensory science, among others. And we have more details on those on the park calendar. It's a great way to learn more about the Hudson and all of the wildlife in our estuarine sanctuary. We also have fall field trip signups that are live on our website. You can learn about everything from fish ecology to plankton and water quality. We cover a broad range of themes on the Hudson River and have a lot of hands-on interactive science activities that can be tailored for any grades, kindergarten through college. Finally, upcoming next weekend is our Submerged Marine Science Festival. We're super excited. It's happening Friday, the 29th. That'll be for students, teachers, and is formatted as a school trip. And then Saturday,
wrap it up.
Yep.
Just take the next 30, 45 seconds to wrap up. Thank you so much.
And then Saturday, September 30th, those are at Hudson River Park's Pier 84 and is a part of the West Side Day Fest. We also have an activation with Poster House at Pier 63. And October 26th is release of the fishes and pumpkin smash on November 4th. Thanks so much, everyone.
Thank you so much, Maggie. I'm going to call on Dan Miller again. I see him on Zoom if he'd like to give his report on the Hudson River Park advisory. And then Gregory Daggett, statewide right to counsel, or Stephanie Mercado Altman. I didn't see them on Zoom and I don't see them on the room. So with that, I'm going to end the public session and turn it back over to our chair, Susan Kent.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, thank you everybody for your patience. At this time, I will take a motion to adopt the agenda. Thank you. In a second, and all in favor? Okay, thank you. Now we will go to reports to the public. We will go back to our elected officials who have yet to give reports. First, I have Jennifer Chow from Councilmember Marte's office. Is she still on? She was online?
Yes, I just elevated.
She's not there anymore.
No, she's coming up. She's coming up.
Being elevated.
Who's after that?
Jasper Scott from Assemblymember Lee, and then Evelyn Collado from the Controller's office.
Hello.
Yep, you're on.
Is she ready?
Yes, I am here. I turned my video on, but I don't know why the screen is still black. So thank you everyone for having me. My name is Jennifer. And usually my colleague Connor Allerton would be here, but unfortunately he had a conflict tonight. And so I wanted to start off with the updates and share that for Climate Week, our office is starting our own District 1 street tree care program where anyone can sign up to help care for street trees in their neighborhoods. The Parks Department only takes care of the street trees for 2 years, so these trees need all the support that they can get. Our office has put together a tree map and a sign up form that you can feel free to check out. There is a link to sign up to adopt a tree, and you can reach out to our office for any further questions. In terms of legislation, the council member, hello? The council member introduced a bill that would establish a task force of public officials, advocates, and academics to propose a freedom trail in New York City, commemorating and preserving historic sites that were part of the Underground Railroad and abolitionist movement. We had a council hearing on it this past Tuesday where many advocates and organizations testify in support of the bill. And a few potential sites in CB2 include Minetta Lane, originally a free Black community and farmland, and 246 Spring Street, which used to be the site of a mixed race church that was active in the abolitionist movement. And finally, the council member has continued to work with our fellow electeds in finding a solution for the Morton Williams supermarket on Bleecker Street. We most recently met with Morton Williams alongside other elected offices to come up with a strategy that preserves the supermarket while still facilitating the development of a new public school, as was promised by NYU in their original plan, in their original expansion plan. And our office is still collecting. Sorry. Okay. Sorry.
Are you? I'm sorry. Finished? Okay.
Yes,
I think so.
Yes, I would. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I don't see any questions. Jasper Scott.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right. Thank you, guys. So yes, I represent Assembly Member Grace Lee. I just wanted to give some quick updates from our office. As Senator Kavanaugh recently mentioned earlier, the governor just signed our bill, the bill that Assemblymember Lee led on to make Lunar New Year a statewide public holiday, which actually makes New York the first state in the nation to make Lunar New Year a mandated holiday statewide. So that's very exciting. Additionally, during the year, we passed legislation to bring $389 million to pay unpaid ERAP applications or withstanding rental arrears from COVID for public and subsidized housing residents. And we've finally received word that the state has begun to process these pending applications. So if you or anyone you know is in public or subsidized housing and have an ERAP application that needs to be paid out, please reach out to our office and we can ensure that your application is taken care of as quickly as possible. And finally, I'd just like to mention that this upcoming Monday, so September 25th, we're going to be partnering with local organizations to host a clinic in Chinatown where New Yorkers can receive free flu shots. So this will take place at 62 Mott Street in Chinatown from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And it's open to anyone 19 years and older with priority to those without health insurance. I will drop all the information in the chat. Feel free to forward those details, particularly about the event, to anyone you think that could use it. And yeah, that concludes my short spiel. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. I see no questions. Actually, I'm going to jump Dan. I saw Dan online and I want to give him a chance to give his report. He was there.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Okay. I had some connectivity problems, so I just changed my screen. But anyway, I'll get going. I wanted to just give a little Hudson River Park update. And can you all hear me? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I'm speaking as the chair and a CB2 representative of Hudson River Park Advisory Council, which is made up of 50 voting members that include elected officials, community leaders like organizations from block associations and youth sports leagues and businesses and nonprofit organizations that reside in the park. We meet the second Tuesday of the month, and our meetings are open to the public, and our information can be found on the HRPT website, as well as our letters and our resolutions, and I've been representing CB2 for about 10 years. Like a community board, we write resolutions and letters to officials that govern the park, and since elected officials are represented at our meetings, we've been able to create some small ways of change, like our request to monitor the pollution outflows from Con Ed's facility at Pier 98. We also have a little gravitas because both the chairs at CB1 and CB4 hold executive positions, along with CB2 on the Hudson River Park Advisory Council. So our voice is often united, which makes our voice strong. In September, Hudson River Park Advisory Council approved a resolution calling for the city and state to take a closer look at Battery Park City Authority's resiliency plan, which calls for a 9.5-foot wall, and in some places higher, to be constructed from Chambers Street to North Moore. Though this area is not in CB2, a wall blocking views to Hudson River Park will create a precedent that will impact CB2 and its neighbors all along 9A, which is West Street. What happens to the backlash of water from the superstorm when it hits the wall built on the median of West Street and then returns back to the park, let alone all the views that are gone inland looking at the park? Is a wall the best solution? Are there other options? How will the wall affect the health of the park? Hasn't even been considered by the plan. Yet it seems to be moving forward. And this is something that I think folks on CB2 have taken a look at, and it's something that we should all be very concerned about. A median wall, 9.5 feet, going from Chambers Street to Northmore. You try to picture it, and then it also creates this precedent. And our ask, like CB2's, is to create a local task force so our residents have a say in what gets built to protect our Hudson River shoreline, hopefully not at the expense of the park. Many of you have also complained about the unsafe greenway, how there are heavy electric bikes, cargo bikes, mixing in with slower moving bikes, let alone kids on training wheels. So we've written many letters to authorities to try to fix this. And one of the solutions that we've come up along with CB2 is we know cargo bikes need a path to move forward and to get their goods delivered, maybe move it off of 9A somewhere else within, maybe along the median or somewhere else. Let them figure that out. Anyway, we do a lot of important work. I want to encourage people.
Okay, Dan, I do have to ask you.
I welcome anyone with interest in the park to join us. I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no questions. Evelyn Collado.
Yes, good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to present tonight to CB2. I just have some quick announcements. I'd like to highlight that we will having our Hispanic Heritage Celebration for this year in relations to Latino-owned MWBE businesses. It will be uptown at Alianza Dominicana. It would be on October 4th at 6 p.m. And it will be a great opportunity to participate in a panel with city administrators and members of our executive team to discuss some of the barriers to entry, as well as the opportunities for businesses in contracting with the city. I also want to remind the board that we sent information as to trainings and presentations that we are offering to the different community boards on our climate dashboard. So if your environmental committee is interested in having a member of our team to come and train your members on how to use it, we'll be more than happy to do it. There is another hub, information hub in our website that I want to bring attention to, and is the information hub on the migrant crisis. It's the only digital hub of information on everything that has been spent on the migrant crisis. It's information from the passport system, from contracts that are registered, as well as details that we get from the mayor's office. As you know, there are different agencies, they contract following different rules, so we don't have a central system where you can go and access this information. That's why we put it together. You can find details on all that and much more at our website at the comptrollers.nyc.gov. Thank you.
Thank you. I see no questions. Let's see. Nicole from Councilmember Boucher's office.
Hi, everybody. Nice to see everyone after the summer, and happy almost fall.
I'll try to go fast here. I have a couple of legislative announcements. As of last Monday, we just wanted to let everyone know that it is now all family shelters in New York City are required to have a mental health professionals available in their shelters. Until this, this is local law 35, and until this came into effect, about 9 of the city's 247 shelters for families with children offered mental health services on site, a rate of less than 4%. We're very, very happy with this new legislation. Also, actually just announced today, sorry, just pulling it up, was our West Side Work Coalition. We're partnering up, our office is partnering up with Hudson Guild, Greenwich House, New York City Employment, and the Training Coalition. The West Side Work Coalition is a collaboration between government, job readiness providers, community-based organizations, and businesses of all sizes to connect local talent to open employment opportunities while supporting the development of new and dynamic training programs for future jobs. We're beginning this effort with NYCHA Elliott Chelsea and NYCHA Fulton houses, and that was just announced today. I want to remind everybody we have 2 clinics, ongoing clinics. One is the second Tuesday of each month is our housing clinic, and the second Thursday of each month is our rent freeze clinic. This next Thursday, the 28th, sounds like there's a lot going on the 28th, but we are having our kickoff for our next cycle of participatory budgeting. It's going to take place at Pier 57 from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock. Please come check it out. We're really excited for our next go around here, and we're ready to start drum up excitement and get some really good ideas going so we can think of some capital projects to benefit our community. Also, sorry, everybody. We have 2 shred events. It's a lot of shredding going on because the Assembly member Glick has hers. We have one at Penn South on the 26th. So that's on 26th Street between 8th and 9th. And that goes from 10 to 2 o'clock. And we have another one on the 13th of October in Manhattan Plaza. That also goes from 10 to 2 o'clock. And that's on 43rd Street between 9th and 10th. I'll just throw those in the chat so you can have those. And if you have any more questions or you have any interest in any of this, please give us a call at our office. I would be happy to fill you in further. And I'm sure you'll be seeing a lot of news blasts coming your way for these events as well. So I hope I didn't forget anything, and take care, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole. I see no hands up, so we will go to Andrew Chang.
Good evening, everybody. This is Andrew from the Manhattan Borough President's Office. I just have basically 3 things to mention. One is the Manhattan Borough President, Mark Levine, was there to greet students and parents a few weeks ago for back to school. We released a back to school guide. It's on our website. And this guide has information on where to find free after school programs, where to find early child care and healthcare opportunities, mentorship programs, food assistance, and much more. Secondly, earlier this week, the Manhattan Borough President presented a plan to revitalize the Lower Manhattan waterfront. This proposal will make recommendations for the FDR viaduct between the Brooklyn Bridge and the Battery, and seek to enhance transit, bike pathways, public spaces, and provide better waterfront access for pedestrians. I will put a link to the chat as well regarding this initiative and which will contain more information on what it means for Lower Manhattan residents and visitors. And then lastly, while not in Manhattan Community District 2, Penn Station is frequented and used by many New Yorkers and visitors alike. Earlier this month, the Manhattan Borough President and Congressmember Jerry Nadler jointly expressed their support for a grand entrance on 8th Avenue of Penn Station and to solicit plans for the redesign of this entrance. Both the borough president and the Congress member called for the city of New York to initiate a competitive RFP process that will ask applicants not only to improve the functionality of the station, but to also transform the surrounding community through this world-class grand entrance. And that's my report for this evening. Thank you and have a good night.
Thank you, Drew. I do not see any questions. Is there any, I'm sorry, please, oh, Queen, please stand up and use the microphone. And the lovely Susan Aaron will.
Yes, well, I think the Manhattan Borough President is sort of in charge of all 12 community boards. And I am thinking that that there should be a regulation that only, since we all have to be here in person, that people who speak to us should be in person unless they have some special disability or other reason that makes it impossible. So I wonder if you think that the borough president would support something that would make these meetings more efficient and meanwhile make me less impatient.
I can bring that up with my supervisor, but I'm not sure if I believe it's up to each community board to set their own policies, but I can bring that up.
Thank you. Okay. 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 I'm sorry. Is there any other rep online who has not been called? Just so before we conclude that part. Okay. We are done with public session speakers. We are done with. I've got my report, which I'm going to abbreviate. I know I mentioned this at exec. I have sent out emails to some people. I have all of our new members now have committee assignments. I have made a decision to reduce the number of standing committees from 13 to 10. The 3 committees affected are economic development and small business, which will no longer exist going forward. In its place, a working group or a task force for a targeted approach to the extent that we have business issues that arise. The good example right now is the open restaurants group. Arts and culture, which will functionally remain unchanged, is simply being recategorized as a working group to ensure the ability to operate in a flexible manner without the responsibility of monthly standardized meetings. And equity, race, and justice, we will now, Mara Fitzgerald has agreed to be the CB2 advisor on equity, race, and justice. In place of the committee, she will be working with me to develop ideas and present ideas to committees so that instead of having simply a committee that looks good on paper, we can actually infuse our committees with these values and see that that dimension of the work that we do is actually realized. So we will, of course, anyone is welcome to approach either of us if you believe there are things you would like to see occurring along those lines, and we will integrate them into the work of the other committees. Let's see. I'm sorry. Oh, okay. Thank you. We now have a David Gruber, who has given us great service as the Hudson bid rep, has stepped down. In his place, Valerie De La Rosa is our new rep to the bid. Thank you for reminding me. while this is something normally committee chairs focus on, certainly any board member is free to present an idea for a community planning fellow. Unfortunately, the time is short because the deadline is the end of the month. If you have any ideas, for those of you who are not aware of this, the Fund for the City of New York provides second-year graduate students in a variety of areas such as urban planning, architecture, and urban design and historic preservation. If you have ideas and you would like to see them developed, I'm going to need a draft by end of business Monday. I suggest if you can go to the website, they have a form that would assist you in developing a plan. Good news, the mayor's budget cuts that were supposed to be a series of 3-5% cuts will not apply to community boards. Yes. Apparently, although it would have been devastating for us, apparently the sum saved is pocket change in the scheme of a New York City budget. So we're good for now. As the incidents of COVID keep increasing, I want to make everyone aware there is a program called the Bridge Access Program. It is a federally funded program administered by the CDC, and it is guaranteeing cost-free access for COVID vaccines. So for the uninsured, there is no fee, and for those who are insured, if you have a copay, again, you will not be paying that. What you just have to do is set up for an appointment through one of the participating pharmacies, which in our case are CVS and Walgreens. We will send around an email with the information and a link so that you can share this information and ensure that everyone who wants a vaccine will get one. Finally, on a sad note, I have to inform you that we lost one of our own, Karen Akoff, who was a public member of Quality of Life for a long time, passed away in August. And she was a passionate animal advocate and a longtime West Village resident. A celebration of her will be announced. We will share information with that when I receive it. Anyone wishing to honor her can make a donation to the North Shore Animal League. And in her memory, I do ask for a moment of silence. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Okay, that is the end of my report, and the DM report is next.
Thank you. I'm reluctant to touch anything now that it seems to work. So my first, want to say a word of thanks to Jennifer Brown and the Fire Museum. I promise you that all of this worked in the afternoon, so none of this is their problem. I, however, will be taking a University of Phoenix course on how to remove egg from my tomorrow afternoon. Also abbreviating, it's DNS season. We talked about this as an executive, so I don't know that I need to go into great detail, but there is a Google Drive with access to anybody who wants it, for not just the chairs, but all of our members to take part in defining the district needs, which is the narrative statement of what's going on in our district. By the way, not all narrative district needs have to be budget related. Some can be needs that are not budget related, or could be legislative or something like that. Although the amount of space that the Department of City Planning gives you on the online portal is very, very modest. So I think it's important that we all work together. Survey shortly in our next to solicit community input on one of the things that we have to do in the district needs statement, which is to identify the top 3 needs in our district. I'm going to leave my report there other than to say thank you for the news about being exempt from the PEG. It means we can keep the photocopier, and I'm going to turn it back to the chair. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, that brings us to the end. We are now going to start this session. It is time for attendance.
Excuse me, one thing I should mention is that I do have hard copies and tablets if anybody needs the text of what you're about to hear. Thanks.
Okay, hear me? Yes. Okay. Not well.
You may have to hold it closer to you.
Can you hear me now? All right. Go slower because I can't hold this. Okay. Susanna Aaron. Whoops. Okay. Akila Asqui. I can't see if she's on the Zoom. Akila. She is. Oh, hi. See you. Okay, great. William Benesh. Teen Berger. Carter Booth. Katie Bordenaro. I think she's still there. Okay.
Here.
Got you. Anita Brandt. I'm here. Yeah, nice.
Yeah, here.
Val De La Rosa. Sorry, Valerie. Chris Dignas. Sorry, Chris Dignas. Sorry, I'm a little distracted. Mark Gerald. Cormac Flynn. Susan Gammy. David Gruber. Ann Hager. Julian Horkey. Wayne Kawadler.
Here.
Yeah, okay. Susan Kent.
Here.
Ryan Kessler. Janine Kiley. Ivy Quanart.
All right.
She's still
Here.
okay. Great, thank you. Patricia Laria. Michael Levine. Ed Ma. See there? Yes, I see him. Matt's not here. Dan Miller.
Here.
Okay. That's okay. Hold on. Erica Olson. He's absent with notice. Oh, he was online. Matt. Oh, he's still. I see you. Oh,
I'm
there
here.
you are. Great. Yes. Okay. Juan Osorio. Okay, Brian Pape. Lois Rackoff. Yeah. Bo Riccobono. Zachary Roberts. Shirley Secunda. Kristen Shea. I see you.
Yes.
Frederica Siegel. Emma Smith. Dr. Shirley Smith. I see you.
Present.
Chenault, and you're here. Yes, great.
Here.
Susan Wittenberg. Anthony Wong. Cheryl Wilk. I see you. Okay. Hi. And Eugene Yu. I see you too. Great.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, next is an approval of the July full board minutes. First, are there any questions, corrections of anything of that nature? If not, then I will take a motion to approve. And the second, all in favor? Thank you. And now, now we go to resolutions from our standing committees, starting with cannabis licensing.
Doing business as Dagmar Cannabis, to be located 12 West
Broadway in a 4-story commercial building, was previously a Georgia 2. The owner is the citrist, a long time Soho native, living outside of Soho for a long time. Glad to be back. Nothing controversial on this application. Hours are 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. There were planters that planned for the outside, the exterior of the space. Really, all we asked was that she bring them in at night and make sure are not impeding any pedestrian traffic while they are out. And so therefore be it resolved is that we approve with stipulations, which she's agreed to sign. There are the standard steps. There will be no closings for events. There will be no. Hi, Ed. Is that it? And let's see. For events, doors will be closed, ingress and egress. Patrons will only use that 412 address. Uniform security, unarmed. And let's see. And if they make any changes, they'll come back. So CB2 Manhattan recommends a new adult use retail dispensary license, Robin Hood Canvas LLC, Dagmar at 412 West Broadway. Okay, that's it. Oh, and I have to update language. OCM updated their web just a few days ago, like literally 2 days ago, and their new materials, new advisories in anticipation of general licensing in 2 weeks. So I have to update some links that are in here and some of the language. And because it's now the powers of community boards, I'm going to change municipality to community boards where you see it. And that's all.
Thank you. Any questions or discussion? If there's no objection, we are going to continue the practice of, we will have a omnibus. We're going to take roll this into an omnibus motion at the end. Okay, next would be landmarks, and Chenault is live.
The sound's been solved. You hear me okay?
We hear you.
Oh, fine. Okay. I would like to take one moment before the resolutions. Joan Davidson, who was a very important person in the philanthropy of landmarks.
Chenault, your volume is low.
I'm doing I can't control it. I can't control my own. Do you hear me now?
Okay. Yes, we're now, I think.
Okay. I just wanted to mention that Joan Davidson, who was an important philanthropist at Landmarks, and in particular for us, because she was the chairman of the Kaplan Fund, which her father started, and she was a real Brooke Astor that she got in knee-deep in everything they funded. And her first task was, when she took over, was their funding of Westbeth and seeing it into what it is today. Thank you. We have 3 resolutions. One bond application to replace windows in the alley west side of the building and install 3 transom windows above the top floor existing windows.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Chenault, but the volume is slow that the
okay, let Susan's prepared to read them then.
Yes, we're gonna have
Susan Gammy is prepared to read.
Okay, Landmarks meeting, take 2. There were 3 proposals in front of the committee. There were 3 proposals in front of the committee. There were 3 unanimous denials, which is fairly unusual. There was not a quorum present. The first proposal was 1 Bond Street. Application is to replace windows on the alley east side of the bill. So 3 transom windows
above top floor existing windows. The resolution recommends denial of the 3 windows as an unwelcome intrusion to the attack side facade of an individual landmark, and review of the commission of any proposed window replacement, and recommends that the applicant come before CB2 Manhattan Landmarks Committee for a public hearing, provided that the replacements cannot properly be approved by commission staff. Second one, 77th Street. The application is to replace windows on the Broadway and Mercer Street elevation and establish a master plan regarding window replacement. The resolution that CB2 Manhattan recommends denial of the application for installation of casement windows, and that the replacement be of double hung windows in a historic design appropriate to the building. Last one is 130 Bank Street. This application is to install a new steel deck at the first floor level over existing cellar extension, including new pavers, steel structure, railings and stair access, hallway, to replace one window with a door to the stair and add new lighting at exterior facade. The resolution is to recommend denial of the application as an unwelcome intrusion of non-historic elements to the building, especially in that they're clearly visible from a public thoroughfare and that there are other possibilities to providing access to the proposed deck. And as I said, all 3 of these were unanimous votes among the committee. In the business session, additionally, the report on a letter that is being sent by the chair of the Landmarks Committee and the chair of our community board to the National Park Service concerning the impact of the Soho rezoning on the landmark district. Soho is a National Historic Landmark. This designation is based largely on the districts having remained essentially intact. I just want to clarify that the National Park Service is the federal agency that is concerned with designation of national historic landmarks. And in the 1970s, the Soho Cast Iron District was designated by the NPS as a National Historic District. So this is the reason that the community board wants to connect with the on this, because we think it's incredibly important for them to be aware of the upzoning. And now applications are starting to come through the committee for buildings that are taking advantage of this upzoning. And we are interested in starting some sort of a dialogue with the National Park Service to see if there's anything that they can do to provide guidance, and things should be examined on the community board level. So that's explanation of that. And I also want to report, and also in the business session, there was a report on the fact that an application was submitted to the Community Planning Fellowship Program for a fellow to carry out a survey of landmark violations in a portion of CB2. This survey is the first of its kind and will serve as a model for a full survey of the designated areas district. That's it.
And that's we will microphone.
Well, the people on Zoom can't hear, and it's for the record. All right.
Thanks.
The NPS letter, has that already been sent, or was the idea we were going to draft a letter and then send it?
It's been sent.
Okay. Could we get a copy of that?
We have received a copy. It's not in the yes, that should have been in the packet.
Is there
or it was sent to
be in the packet?
Was there one in the packet? Maybe
I believe there.
I don't see it.
Okay, but it should have I assume that it was sent out. It will certainly be.
It has been sent.
It has been sent. That's what I thought. It's been sent. Yeah. Okay. You've received. Okay. Seeing no questions.
Susan, you have a question online.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Given that community boards generally speak in resolutions, I was just wondering why we sent a letter.
I believe that's Matt.
It is.
What? Okay.
Give that to Susan Kent too.
Okay. This is a letter of inquiry. We are simply pointing out that something has occurred. We are recognizing that the status already exists. This is in furtherance of the position that the board has already taken. The resolution that the board passed on several is both referenced in the letter and attached to the letter.
Right, but I guess what would be the downside of putting a resolution to the full board before we send out letters?
In the sense of this was an inquiry, I don't understand. You're asking us, you're suggesting that we needed a resolution to make an inquiry?
The board was making an inquiry?
Exactly. We wanted to make the National Park Service aware.
Right, but the board speaks in resolutions, I guess is my point. Thank you.
The board speaks in but the board has been in a resolution, which is what was referenced and attached. This is in furtherance of that resolution.
Susan, I guess my point is I would have liked an opportunity to vote no on it.
Well, it's actually not something that's being voted on, but
my point exactly.
As having opposed this action. That's what will happen. The minutes will reflect that our member opposed the sending of the letter. Okay.
Just if the record could also point out how pointless that is, that would also be great. Thank you.
Well, my. Go ahead, Suzanne.
I wanted to ask the chair just a point of clarification. In the landmarks report, it says an application was submitted to the Community Planning Fellowship Program for a fellow to create a survey of landmark violations. But my understanding is that everyone is
not submitted it in the sense of
it
was yeah. It's not. It's no. Nobody. None of these should be going out separately. It has to come from the community board or some nonprofit entity. If you send one out on your own, it will probably just be discarded. We have a limited. We can only submit up to 2, so we're going to probably make a choice.
Just wanted to clarify that.
Sure. Hey, Parks is. Oh, yeah. Okay, Susanna's going to read Parks. Thank you.
Yeah, I've asked Susanna to read it for our committee.
Yeah, because it's so awful. We'll try to substitute for people in the room when possible. I'm the vice chair of the park. We had one resolution, and it is a resolution in support of New Yorkers for Parks advocacy push to increase maintenance and operations funding for parks in the city to 1% of the city budget. Therefore, be resolved that Manhattan Community Board 2, number 1, fully supports the 1% for Parks campaign and urges our elected officials to allocate this increased funding in the New York City budget. Believes that investing in parks and open spaces is essential to creating a healthy and sustainable environment for all residents, and calls on our elected officials to prioritize parks and open space in budget discussions in order to ensure that each and every community in New York has access to safe, clean, and well-maintained parks and open spaces. And that vote was unanimous. Are there any questions?
Okay, seeing no questions. Quality of life.
Hello. Good evening, everybody. So we are still in very heavy street activity season. We had 14 applications plus 7 FYI renewals, 21 total. I'll go through them here quickly. Number 4, September 15th, Broadway between Prince and Spring, as well as 9th Avenue between 12th and 13th was unanimous deny as they were a no-show. Number 2, Proactive Journey, full plaza closure, Astor Place Plaza South. That was a unanimous deny. Number 3, September 19th, World Animal Protection 2023, Washington Square North, between curb lane only. That was unanimous approve. Number 4, Bling Delights, September 21st, Prince between Green and Mercer, West Broadway between Prince and Spring, Broward between East House and Prince. Unanimous deny no show. Number 5, Doritos Food Truck, Bleecker between LaGuardia and Thompson. Unanimous deny no show. Number 6, Lavazza, September 29th, Broadway and West Houston. Unanimous deny no show. Number 7, West Side Fest, September 30th. Jane Carey mentioned this earlier. This is a part of that overall cultural event that's happening, Gansevoort Pedestrian Plaza. That was unanimous approve. Number 8 is October 6th, Olay Serum Swap, Broadway, East Houston and Prince Street. This was a unanimous deny, noting some of the safety concerns of hosting a curb lane event at the corner of Broadway and Houston, a busy corner. Number 9, October 6th through 7th, Fragrance Innovation, Gansevoort Pedestrian Plaza. That was unanimous deny. Number 10, October 7th, Melbourne Golf 1-year anniversary, Crosby between Broome and Grand, I think that should say. That is a unanimous deny. Number 11, Triangle Fire Memorial Dedication, October 11th, between Washington Square East and Broadway, and Green between West 4th and Waverly. Unanimous approved with 1 abstention. Number 12, October 12th through 15th, Meatpacking by Design, Gansevoort Plaza. Unanimous approved, 1 abstention. Number 13, October 21st, PS3 Fall Fest. That was a no-show deny. Grove between Bradford Hudson. Number 14, October 26th through 30th, Feastable Shopify Lawn. Green between Prince and West Houston. Unanimous denied, 1 abstention. And then the FYI renewals 15 through 20 on here were unanimously approved. There was 1 that was called out, Village Fall Fair, on November 11th, which we want to lay over and have them come present at one of our meetings. And those were both unanimous. Yes.
Please go ahead.
Great. Great report. Thank you. I just want to point out on item number 13, a typo. The name of the school, I believe, is the John Charlotte School. Yeah, and I'm not sure what the IVs or anything like that. But I'm sure it's continually correct spelling.
Thank you.
Yeah. I have another question, actually a request. I wanted to also commend you for the clarity of your thinking on these applications, but I wanted to request if you could do any follow-up with SAPO to see if they are listening, especially in cases where it's us recommending a denial, something that is on the meatpacking bid plaza. Thank you.
Yes. I know Mark is heavily involved in following up with SAPO, and or at least trying to. One of the things that's on our radar is they do and so I would, yes. So I would like to get them, perhaps one of us, so we can sort of explain our manner of thinking with certain events. And then I also want to have a broader listening and strategizing session for, the community and the board to talk about putting in place, more sort of detailed, broad guidelines for street events.
Go ahead, Frederica.
Thank you. I think it's a good idea to meet with SAPO, but I'm as interested in hearing about their criteria as I am explaining your committee criteria to them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking of, they post a lot of info online with regard to all the different types of events. Asking about, how they specifically use our recommendations in terms of deciding whether they're going to approve or deny. And obviously, we would like to hear more about that for sure.
Okay, that's it. So these will be added to the omnibus along with every other committee that we've mentioned so far, that we've heard from so far.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, school.
Hi, everyone. Patricia Laria, Chair of Schools and Ed. We had Superintendent Kelly McGuire provide updates and info about the 2023-2024 school year in District 2. And at that meeting, questions and comments were submitted to the committee involving support for unscreened admissions. And we had one resolution that was unanimously approved by the committee, resolution in support of middle school admissions for Education District 2. Now therefore be resolved, CB2 firmly and resolutely endorses and supports Superintendent McGuire's continued leadership in fostering a streamlined middle school admissions process for the academic year 2023-2024. And I'd like to thank Mara Fitzgerald and Ann Hager for writing the resolution.
Okay,
any
great.
questions?
Any questions, comments, or whatever? None. Thank you. And this will be added to the traffic. We will get this right by the end of the meeting.
Okay. Two resolutions, both unanimously approved. Resolution number 1, in support of and requesting co-naming the southwest corner of Mulberry and Grand Streets, Vincent Vinny Peanuts, Cirilli Sabatino Corner. And our resolve was CB2 wholeheartedly supports and requests the co-naming of the southwest corner of Mulberry and Grand Streets, Vincent Vinny Peanuts, Cirilli Sabatino Corner. And resolution number 2 was requesting a traffic light at Houston and Worcester Streets. And resolve is CB2 requests that DOT install a crosswalk. I got 3 resolves here. Excuse me. Community Board 2 urges the New York City Department of Transportation to speedily install a traffic light at Houston and Worcester Streets. Further resolved, asks that this traffic light include an accessible pedestrian signal, APS, to help all those who are visually challenged to cross the street safely. And finally, requests that DOT install a crosswalk on Houston Street at Worcester Street. And that's it.
Thank you, Shirley. Any comments, discussion? Seeing none, we will add this to the omnibus. And okay, we have Lighthouse LA next, which Carter will be.
That's the killer.
Oh,
Yes, I see.
our technical advisor is positioning the. They are exactly.
Not sure which way to face. I'm like this. All right. So for the first SLA meeting, there are 22 items. The first 8 have resolutions. Thank you. Thank you, Susanna. Number 1 is Felix Green Soho LLC, DBA Felix Roasting Company at Ward 145 Green Street. It's a new on-premise license for a previously unlicensed location. The recommendation is deny unless the stipulations are adhered to, and the vote was unanimous. Number 2 is Davida One Inc., DBA Marcelino at 178 Mulberry Street. This is a new on-premise liquor license. The recommendation is deny unless with stipulations. Vote was unanimous. Number 3 is LHNYC LLC, 155 Bleecker Street. It's a new on-premise liquor license for a restaurant. Recommendation is deny unless the stipulations are adhered to. Number 4 is Boney Restaurant LLC, DBA Boney and Mott, 238 Mott Street. It's a new restaurant wine application. Recommendation is deny unless with stipulations. Number 5 is Organic Grill Inc. at 133 West 3rd Street. This is a restaurant wine application for a change in method of operation. The recommendation is deny unless the stipulations are adhered to. The vote was unanimous. Number 6 is Little Rest LLC, DBA Rafts at 290 Elizabeth Street. This is for an on-premise liquor license for a restaurant. It's a change in method of operation and alteration. The recommendation is deny unless the stipulations are adhered to. Number 7 is Tartinery at W3 LLC, DBA Tartinery at 233 Thompson Street. This is a new restaurant wine application. The recommendation is deny unless the stipulations are adhered to. Number 8 is Sink Restaurant Inc. at 133 Mulberry Street. It's a new on-premise restaurant application. The applicant appeared before us in January 2023. They updated the licensee name, so they came back to us and re-signed stipulations. The recommendation is deny unless the stipulations are being adhered to, and then items number 9 through 22 were layovers or withdrawals.
That's it. Any questions, any discussion on any of those? Okay, they're all,
I just would like to say that it's nice to hear Carter back in this position.
I'm sorry, we're in business session. Only the board members can ask questions at this time, but Cormac.
Carter, I noticed a healthy number of previously unlicensed locations. Is this reflective of a larger trend you're seeing in the health of the dining bar industry?
We have had a significant number.
We've lost the audio from the room.
I just texted a few people over there. So that
it looks like someone tripped on the cord.
they're aware that they can't be heard. They're working on it.
Yeah. Valerie says someone tripped on the cord, so we can check that off our bingo box.
Oh no.
All right. Can you guys hear me? Katie, Rich? Yep. All right.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
So your answer to your question, Cormac, was yes.
Thank you.
Okay, the answer was yes. And are there any other questions? Okay, seeing none, we will move the SLA resos into the omnibus.
Okay, moving on to SLA 2, we had 15 applications. Number 1 is Big Love Cooking LLC at 90 Bedford Street. It's a new restaurant wine application. The recommendation was deny unless the stipulations are adhered to. The vote was unanimous. Number 2 is Par Avion Group LLC, DBA Nightingale at 37 Carmine Street. It's a new on-premise bar tavern license for a previously application. The recommendation was to deny. Number 3 is People's NYC LLC at 113 West 13th Street. This is for a new bar tavern full liquor license. The recommendation is deny unless the stipulations are adhered to. Number 4 is Carmine Fine Foods LLC at 34 Carmine Street. It's previously unlicensed. It's a new restaurant wine application. The recommendation was deny unless with stipulations being adhered to. Number 5 is one item. It's actually 4 separate licenses for Cornucopia Cruise Lines for 4 ships: Destiny, Horizon's Edge, Sundancer, and Majesty, all located at Pier 40 at 353 West Street. These are all new on-premise liquor licenses. The recommendation was deny unless the stipulations are adhered to. Number 6 is Shuka LLC, DBA Horado at 357 Bleecker Street. It's a new restaurant and wine application. Was previously unlicensed. They had appeared before us before, but over 270 days had passed, so they had to refile their application. Recommendation is deny unless with stipulations being adhered to. Number 7 is One Tree LLC, DBA Westerly at 39 East 13th Street. This was a new tavern wine application. They had appeared in November 2022, but they had made some changes to the application. Everything else remained the same, except they had to adjust their kitchen filing. They re-signed the same stipulations. The recommendation was deny unless with stipulations being adhered to. Number 8 is MT 181 Waverly LLC at 150 West 10th Street. It's a new on-premise restaurant application. Again, we had heard this in October 2022. They had to amend the application to a tavern application instead of restaurant. Recommendation was denied unless the stipulations were adhered to, and items number 9 through 15 were layovers or withdrawals.
Susanna.
Just a typo. I think item number 2 is that on 37 Carmine Street. I just lost my place. It says it's on Carmine between Bleecker and Grove. I think it's Carmine between Bleecker and Bedford. Just a typo.
All right. Hold on. Let me adjust that in the main minutes, or do you need?
What was the number?
It's for SLA 2, resolution number 2. The cross streets should be between Bleecker and Bedford.
Got it. Okay. David?
I just want to congratulate the committee, Carter, on 37 Carmine, which was a very contentious and difficult situation for the community. The committee worked with the various community groups and with the applicant. I thought the reserve really about everything, and thank you for working so hard on that, Carter. And
thank Donna.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Okay. And nothing further on SLA 2, so those will go into the omnibus. And that is those are our standing committee. At this point, we will consider the resolutions that were passed at executive in August. You should have all received those. Are there any that are being called out at this point?
Corrections.
Corrections or whatever.
Was presented. The resolutions, I did not see them directly, but pursuant from an email from Donna, the August resolutions are not quite correctly reflected in what was sent out to the board. The first SLA meeting had 17 items. The second SLA meeting had 12 items. And on SLA 1, Gran Gusto Ristorante, which was number 15, was dropped and should be added back in from the August meeting.
Okay.
And Donna has emailed Eva with
corrections,
changes.
Okay. Okay. Were there any other call outs or questions? There were also resolutions relating to quality of life and landmarks. And if none, then I will, those will also be included in the omnibus. The last item is that resolution for a procedure to claim a qualifying disability. This resolution, which was originally presented at August's exec, is required of us because while we modified, I'm sorry, do you have? Well, why don't you go ahead?
On the SLA 2 resolutions, For this month, there was not a quorum present, so those should be reflected as being introduced for consideration by the board.
Got it. Got it. Thanks. Okay, anyway, to go back to the resolution authorizing the use of remote technology by members with a qualifying disability. While we passed a reso authorizing the use of remote technology in a hybrid meeting, the change in the open meetings law to permit people with a qualifying disability, the definition of which is included in the resolution, was not contemplated, and therefore we have to pass an additional resolution to permit this, to ensure that those people who self-identify as having a qualifying disability are not only able to participate, but are counted towards quorum, which, as we all know, has become a sometimes difficult thing to achieve. For those who are not aware, there is a form that we ask everyone who is seeking a qualifying disability to fill this out, file it with the office. This way we can retain records so that we can verify who qualifies. We are not making any inquiries into people's health status. We are not going to present any challenges to your claims, but we nevertheless have been advised to maintain a record of this. So is there any questions or discussion? Yes, Lois. Yeah, we do need, yeah. Lois here.
Hello. Yeah, I understand what I just want to verify this, that on a particular month that you cannot come in person because you're ill, but you don't have a disability, that you can get in on the hybrid and come in Zoom, just for clarification.
There is a distinction between what would be called, which already existed in the law as an extraordinary circumstance, among an example of which is illness. And that's different than a qualifying disability, which tracks the language that's in the resolution.
And in addition to this, thank you for that.
And to further, if you have an extraordinary circumstance like an illness, yes, you can participate online, but no, you will not count towards quorum. That's the big difference.
Got that. Thank you. And in addition to that, does this apply? I should have asked Andrew or someone else. Does this apply to the reps, the represented, not necessarily
the only applies to the members of the body. It only applies to the members of the board because only the board members are actually voting. They are the people who count.
All right, thanks.
Just the way on the committee level, it would only apply to board members who are appointed to the committee.
Thank you, Susan.
Okay. Is there any other questions on that? Okay, so that gets added to the omnibus as well. Is there, okay, I guess it's time for a vote on that. Well, is there any new business, by the way? Okay, so now we are going to take a vote on the omnibus. And as soon as just repeat. What we're voting on, you mean? Oh, okay. Let's see what happens. Let's see how loud everybody can be. If we can't hear you, this takes longer.
Just repeat what they say.
Yeah, what they say, right? Yeah, let's what happened to Amy?
Can we do a thumbs up?
Early. Okay. So we're going to take an omnibus vote. Susanna Aaron?
Yes.
Akila Askri?
He's online.
What was a yes to all?
Yes to all.
Oh, yes to all. William Benesh. Keen Berger. Carter Booth. Katie Bordenaro.
Yes to all.
Yes to all.
We got yes to all.
Anita Brent. Thank you. Amy is absent. Rich Capolo.
Yes to all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Valerie De La Rosa.
Yes to all.
Chris Dignas. No on landmarks.
Which landmark?
Which landmarks? All of landmarks.
And the quality of life was what?
Number 10.
Mara Fitzgerald. Thank you.
Yes to all.
Should I repeat the vote?
She said yes to all.
Okay, yes to all. And Conrad Flynn. Yes to all. Susan Gammey. Yes to all. David Gruber.
Yes to all.
Yes to all. Ann Hager. Yes to all. Julian Porky. Yes to all. Wayne Kwadler.
Yes to all.
Yes to all. Susan Kent.
Yes to all.
Yes to all. Ryder Kessler.
The landmark would agree. That's Spain.
Abstain. SLA. All of one and
all of landmarks.
Yes, and SLA.
Number two. Abstain.
Okay, number two, abstain. All right. Janine Kiley. Ivy Kornarski.
Ivy
Yes
is
to
online.
all.
Yes
Yes
to all.
to all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Patricia Laria. Thank you. Yes to all. Michael Levine. Yes to all. Ed Ma online.
Yes to all. Do you hear me?
To all. We hear you.
Okay, thank
you. Matt Metzger.
Sadly
online.
recusing on all of cannabis. I'm an advisor to the state's equity fund. And
No
then
on cannabis.
no, not no, just
I'm
recuse.
sorry.
And then abstain on SLA and yes to everything else.
Abstain on all SLA 1 and
Abstain on all of.
You're abstaining on all of SLA, correct?
All of SLA, please and thank you.
Okay.
And was that it? Abstain on all of SLA after?
I can come up with a few more if you want.
Okay, he's done. Yeah, no, I think.
All right.
I am. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Daniel Miller.
Yes to all.
Thank you. Yes to all. Erica Olson. Absent. Juan Osario, also absent. And my vote is yes to all. And Donna Raftery is absent, and Lois Radcliffe. Thank you. Yes to all. Bo Riccobono.
He's gone.
Zach Roberts. Recuse landmarks 2. All right. Thank you.
And yes to all on the others. Shirley Sekunda. Yes to all. Kristen Shea.
Yes to all.
Yes to all online. Frederica Siegel. Yes to all. Emma Smith. Yes to all. Dr. Shirley Smith.
Yes to all.
Yes to all. Thank you. Chanel Spence. Yes to all.
Yes to all. Susan Wittenberg? Yes to all. Thank you. Anthony Wong? Yes to all. Cheryl Wu?
Yes to all.
Katie has.
Yes to all.
Yes to all.
Yes to all.
Katie, you have your hand up. What's your question or?
Yes, I do. I do. On the recusal on I guess Zach Roberts' recusal, are we supposed to hear a reason for the recusal? Are we supposed to be told?
Repeat it.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes, that
yeah,
could be
he's his employer.
He should state it.
Oh, he did. We couldn't hear it online. Thank you. It's an employment situation.
We're done, right? Okay, motion to adjourn. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Well, feels like I'm flustered. What happened here? Second, what happened here? Last time I no. Well, I did. Okay, but the reads next now. It's my thing. I got the first order. And so it gave me grief. Board members in the meeting, so I use. Wait for period.